Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Development Advisory Committee meeting by electronic participation and virtual and in person at the Township Municipal Office for February 13th. Today we have two meetings. The Planning and Advisory Committee will be the last meeting. The first meeting will be the Committee of Adjustment, where we'll be looking and making decisions on minor variance applications before us. And at the advisory committee, there'll be three segments as well, which we will be providing comments to the county for. Please note that our meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to the Municipality YouTube page. By registering to participate in a meeting by electronic means, you're consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with roll call. First, Present. Paul Sedgwick, present, and I, Councilor John Spruce, present as well. Let's go into a moment of reflection. Thank you. And I'd like to also point out that we have a Secretary Treasurer, Lynn Banks, to my right, Communications and Committee Coordinator, Laura Emery, to her right, and we have Planning staff, Zach Prince, our extreme left, and a new Township Junior 5 on the Hall, Sophia Walla in the middle. Okay, so Lynn, could you read the, sorry, I guess we should do the confirmation agenda. Would you read the resolution?
That the committee approves the February 13th, 2024 agenda as amended and as circulated, and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Approval of minutes, item 6.1.1, committee questions and staff responses regarding the February 13th, 2024 Committee of Adjustment agenda.
Okay, I have a move and second. Move by Chris, second by Paul. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, do we have any disclosure of continuing interest?
No.
None? Good, thank you. Would you please read the resolution with respect to the approval of minutes of December 23?
That the Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes amended from the meeting held on December 12th, 2023.
Have a mover. Paul, second Chris. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so we're starting a new process here, so we might be struggling a little bit, but basically we'll try to keep on task. So we're going to proceed into the hearing part of the meeting. The purpose of the hearings is to inform, provide the public with the opportunity to ask questions or to express views with respect to the minor variance application before us today. The township requests that you please notify the secretary of the committee by email at lbanks@postal.ca if you wish to be on record and would like to be notified of any future hearings and decisions regarding the specific application. The format of the hearing as follows. The application to be heard will be read, and staff will be asked to display the relevant information. Staff will then present information specifically outlining the purpose of the application, summary compliance with township notification and submission requirements, and outlining staff comments. Then the applicant will be asked to present the purpose and details of the application, provide any further relevant information. Following this, the public can obtain clarification, ask questions, express their views on the proposal. You will have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can likewise obtain clarification and ask questions. And a member wishes to ask a condition, I will ask for a vote on the condition. Then the committee will deliberate the application and any approved conditions and all the decisions, and the decision will be subject to a 20-day appeal period. Okay, then we'll, would you please proceed with the first item? 7.1.
Do you want me to read it out?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the application is from Herb Bedarian and Nikki Simeonidou. The municipal address is 6598 Wellington Road 34. Legal description is section 3, front part lot 5. In the manner of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, a new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 is amended. and an application for a minor variance requesting relief to permit a reduced lot frontage of the retained parcel to be 109.72 meters instead of 120 meters as required.
Okay, so let's ask Lynn again to summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outline the staff agency, public comments, and recommendations.
Notification was provided in accordance with the Planning Act. Following comments were received. So from building, our bylaw, and public works department, they all had no concerns. The GRCA noted that it's not regulated under Ontario Regulation 150-06. Hamilton Conservation stated that the subject site is located outside of their watershed and within the watershed of the GRCA Conservation Authority, so they wouldn't be providing comments. Source Water noted that the property is located in a vulnerable area, wellhead protection area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat, and the application can be screened out and does not require Section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. But they further noted that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to this property given the vulnerable areas. County Planning Department has advised that the subject lands are designated secondary agricultural and green lands in the county official plan. Planning staff notes that the proposed variance is related to a lot line adjustment, application B40-23, that has been granted provisional approval by Wellington County Land Division Committee. It is understood that as a condition of severance, several conditions were applied in relation to the conveyance of the site triangle to the County of Wellington. And comments from the County Roads Department are provided under a separate cover. The township should be satisfied that the relief being requested has incorporated the necessary land conveyances. Overall, staff do not have any concerns with the proposed minor variance application. And the County Roads Department said that they have no objection with this application.
Thank you. So, Lori, would you please put the applicable drawing on the view and ask the owner applicant to join the panelists to present their application?
Yes. Yeah. I will promote them to a panelist. And then Rod, you should get something on your screen now that you are a panelist.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, as you mentioned, this is
before you start, could you provide your name and address for the record, please?
yes, my name is Rod Finney. I'm an Ontario land surveyor working out of Erin, 5411 8th line, Erin. The property is at lot 6, concession 3, or lot 5, concession 3, excuse me. And it is 6598 Wellington Road 34. Thank you for hearing us tonight. This application has been in front of you as part of the severance or the lot line adjustment application. And one of the conditions, it was approved by both your committee and by the provisionally by the Wellington County Land Division Committee, subject to conditions, one of which was getting a minor variance on the property for frontage reduction. The way the bylaws are written, the frontage is the smaller of the two frontages. This property actually has frontage on 2 roads, Wellington Road 32 and Wellington Road 34, but it is defined, the frontage is defined as being the shorter of those 2 distances along the road. So what we are applying for, the frontage required is 120 meters. With the reduction of the lot line adjustment, that will leave us to somewhat over 109 meters. So we are asking to reduce, for the committee to reduce the frontage from 120 meters to 109 meters to allow the severance to go forward. I think that's really all I have to say. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer.
Okay, so we'll give the public the opportunity to ask questions. Lynn and Or are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this particular minor variance application?
There's not.
If not, okay, let's turn it over to our committee. And or I guess if you have any written comments.
No, Mr. Chairman, we did not receive any.
And Laura, again, I'll ask, are there any attendees watching the hearing who would like to provide comments?
No, Mr. Chair, they're not.
Okay. Then let's give the committee members the opportunity now. With you.
No questions for me, thank you.
Well, okay, and I have no questions as well. So I'll read the actual wording and then I'll ask you to approve, oppose, or defer the actual minor variance. So in a matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act, as amended, new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, application for minor variance request from relief to permit a reduced lot frontage to be also to be 109.72 meters instead of 120 as required. And it's either approved, opposed, or deferred. Chris?
I would approve.
Okay, Paul? And I approve as well. And it's subject to a 20-day appeal period.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the second one then.
Okay, the next application is D13 DEO. The application is made by Ramandeep Deal. Municipal address for the property is 76 Heritage Lake Drive, PV, Township of Portland, and the legal description is to be VLCP 172, Level 1, Unit 1 in the Township of Portland. In the matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act as amended and new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, and an application for a minor variance requesting relief to permit number 1, a setback of 2.3 meters instead of 5 meters for the interior side yard, and number 2, a driveway width of 6.9 meters instead of 6 meters for the proposed single dwelling unit.
Thank you. And Lynn, would you please summarize the application submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, public comments, and recommendations?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments were received. The building department noted that the applicant or designer is to provide a drawing of the affected elevation on the right side elevation, and the elevation drawing should show how they can meet spatial separation requirements as per 9.1015 of the Ontario Building Code with a reduced minimum distance of 2.3 meters. The elevation drawings must include a chart with the following information: total area of glazed openings, total area of the exposed building face, and actual and permitted percentage of openings. They also require a grading plan with the future building permit application for the new house, septic, and associated driveway. And noted that the grading plan must meet the subdivision's overall grading plans and municipal standards. The lot-specific grading must demonstrate that the drainage flow provides adequate drainage and doesn't negatively impact adjacent properties. And the grading plan is required to be completed by an Ontario land surveyor or professional engineer. And they've also noted that all of the above items will be reviewed and required during future building permit applications. And also noted that a separate building permit is required for the demolition of the existing dwelling. The County of Wellington Planning Department said the subject lands are designated secondary agricultural and located in the special policy area PA 7-3 within the county official plan. Staff note that the proposed variance is to facilitate construction of a new 2-story single detached dwelling, and this is proposed to condominium unit number 43 and WVLCP 172. Overall, planning staff do not have any concerns with the proposed minor variance. The Township's Fire Department noted that their comments that they're providing are based on the assumption that the house is already constructed. And they noted that the side yard setback reduction will reduce the spatial separation of the home and the neighboring home. And the reduction will put both homes at a slight or higher risk of an exposure fire. Front of the homes have a fully involved fire, affecting the reduced setback wall of the home, especially if there are openings in that wall, such as windows, and if the cladding is not non-combustible. If the distance between the two homes is 10 meters total, or both homes are totally sprinklered, that would also be acceptable. And if the cladding is brick or stone, possibly installing fire-rated window shutters would help reduce the risk. And they also know that they have no concerns with the driveway width increase. The GRCA has no objections to the approval of the application. The subject property does not contain any natural hazards, such as water courses, floodplains, shorelines, etc., and the properties are not subject to Ontario Reg 150-06, and therefore a permission from the GRCA is not required. Hamilton Conservation Authority noted that the property is outside of their watersheds, so they will not be providing any comments. And Source Water noted that the property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated will not create a significant drinking water threat, and the application can be screened out and does not require Section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. But further noted that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to the property, given the vulnerable areas.
Then I believe the condominium corporation also had a comment that wanted to read that out because it was an important comment, I believe.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The following commentary is provided on behalf of Heritage Lake GP Corporation, who received a hard copy of the notice of the public hearing in the mail. It is understood that the nature of the subject application involves requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from number 1, section 6.3, table 6.2, to permit a setback of 2.3 meters instead of 5 meters for the interior side yard, and section 5.2.9b to permit a driveway width of 6.9 meters instead of 6 meters for the proposed single dwelling unit. Heritage Lake GP Corporation does not formally support or oppose the subject application. However, as the property at 76 Heritage Lake Drive is located within the Wellington Vacant Land Condo Plan number 172, with the associated restrictions on construction and development governed by a registered condominium declaration, it is recommended that the committee have assurances that the request in the subject application have been approved in writing by the condominium corporation.
Thank you. So, Laura, would you please put the appropriate drawing up and ask the owner applicant to come forward and present their application?
Yes. Thanks, Brenda.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, good evening, committee members and Mr. Chair. My name is Emmer Paul Bansal. I am the agent for this file. I reside at 106 Fruitvale Circle, Brampton, Ontario, L7A 5C1. We're here before you today to present this minor variance application. What we're trying to do is we have side-loaded garages. The owner is absolutely in love with this neighborhood, and he actually already has a permit for another property in Pulchnich on Wellington Road 124, approved permit, and he got the opportunity to purchase this lot. And so we've downsized significantly from what they originally had so that him and his family can move into this beautiful subdivision. And what we're asking for is a reduction on the side yard to facilitate the side-loaded garages on the left-hand side, and also to provide a little bit more driveway width as they have SUVs just for maneuvering purposes. We've tried to center the building as best as we could, keeping in mind that the desire is to have the side-loaded garage. And I believe there is another house within the subdivision that has the same concept, and the owner likes that idea, and so that's kind of what we went for. And regarding the spatial separations that staff have noted, we will certainly comply to those and making sure we comply to the OBC requirements. If there's any questions that the committee member have, I'd be happy to try to answer.
So we'll give the public the opportunity to ask questions. Then, are there any registrants who request to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there are not.
Okay. Then, are there any written comments?
Other than those that I read, we haven't received anything further.
Okay, and Laura, would you please advise whether there are any attendees watching the hearing who would like to provide comments or ask questions regarding this application?
Mr. Chair, there are no attendees.
Super, thank you. Okay, so let's turn it over to committee members. We'll start with you, Chris.
Have you had a chance to talk to the condominium corporation? The issues that were raised by Reed's Heritage Homes and their submission to the committee, identifying potentially, I guess, that there could be issues with the condo corporation. What can you say about that?
We haven't reached out to them. To be honest, I wasn't even aware that we had to reach out to them. I suppose we will have to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just piggyback. I mean, I'm good with it. I think just to maybe implement something around the condo corp, also being aware and accepting and approving it, then I think we should.
The suggested condition by staff is that the owner provide written confirmation to the township that the condominium corporation has approved the application. You understand that? Okay, great. Okay, so let's go through the process. In the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended in a new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit 1, a setback of 2.3 meters instead of 5 meters for the interior side yard. 3, with driveway width of 6.9 meters instead of 6 meters for the proposed single dwelling unit. So another approved, oppose, and defer. Approve with the conditions.
Approving with the conditions, including the one that the condo corporation has to agree. Yes, I would approve.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, approve.
I approve as well with conditions.
Can I use the resolution?
Sorry?
Can I read out the resolution?
Sure, please.
So the resolution is that the minor variance decision as made by the committee to be approved with the following condition, that the owner provide written confirmation to the township that the condominium corporation has approved the application.
Okay, move. Second. Okay, great. So let's move on to the third one.
Next application is D13 FIN, Ranjit Singh, vacant land, Wellington Road 34 in the township of Portsland. The legal description of the property is concession 3, part lot 4, being part 1 on reference plan 61R 22-156. In the matter of section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, a new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, and an application for a minor variance requesting relief to permit, number 1, to permit a single family dwelling in the agricultural zone to have a height of 10.5 meters to the midpoint of the roof. And number 2, to permit a driveway width of 10 meters instead of 6 meters for the proposed single dwelling unit.
Okay, thank you. Then we just need summarize the application. Notification and submission requirements outline staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations.
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met, and the following comments were received from the Township's Building Department. They noted that no concerns from a building code perspective for the increased height to 10.5 meters and wider driveway of 6.9 meters. And they further noted that a more technical review will be completed with the future building permit applications. And the designer should note that if the final building design exceeds 600 square meters in the building area, the building permit application will need to include adequate water for firefighting, typically water reservoir tanks, a hydrant, and a fire route. County planning staff have advised that the subject lands are designated secondary agricultural within the county official plan. Planning staff note that the subject lot was created through consent application B31-21. Staff further note that the proposed variance is to facilitate construction of a single detached dwelling. Overall, planning staff do not have any concerns with the proposed minor variance. However, comments from the County Roads Department are required, in particular with respect to the driveway location and width, as the site is proposed to be accessed via Wellington Road 34. And from the County Transportation Department, they have stated that the proponent will need to submit an entrance permit to the county for approval. Township's Fire Department staff have said that they have no concerns with the minor variance application. GRC has noted they have no objection to the approval of the application as the subject property does not contain any natural hazards. And the property is not subject to Ontario Regulation 150-06, and therefore permission from the GRCA is not required. Hamilton Conservation Authority noted that the subject site is located outside of their watershed and within the watershed of the GRCA. And Source Water has stated that the property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities as indicated would not create a significant drinking water threat. And the application can be screened out and does not require Section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. But they further noted that they may provide comments on any future applications subject to the property, given the vulnerable areas.
Okay, Lori, would you please have the owner applicant present the application, put up the appropriate line?
The agent has joined us and I will put the drawings up.
You guys can still hear me?
Yes, we can. Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening again, my committee members, Mr. Chair. My name is Amarpal Bansal. I'm the agent for this file. I reside at 106 Foodville Circle, Brampton, Ontario, L7A 5C1. We're here to present this application for a minor variance for two items. One is the building height. The permitted is 10 meters and requesting 10.5, just to help strengthen the overall aesthetic of the building. A taller roof does make quite a bit of a difference from the appearance and making the architectural style a little bit more stronger. The second variance we're asking for is a increase in the driveway width. Where we're required 6 meters, we have proposed 6.9. Again, these homeowners, they do have SUVs. Some of them are not too skilled at driving. They would like a little extra, a couple of feet just to maneuver. So that's why we're asking for the driveway increase there. If there's any questions the committee members have, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you. We'll turn over the public. Are there any registrants who request to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, they're not.
Okay. And then are there any written comments that have been received?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not receive any.
And whether please advise whether any attendees watching would like to provide comments.
For you, Mr. Chair, there are no attendees.
Thank you. Okay, let's turn it over to the committee members for the review session.
My understanding is the request for the wider driveway is really just the aprons in front of the two garages. Is that correct?
Through the chair to the committee member, to be completely honest, I am not entirely sure where the 6.9 came from. I followed the direction of planning staff when we confirmed the variances, and they advised that that is the variance that we need to obtain here.
It's let me just clarify. Your drawing shows 19 feet at the roadway, and as Chris has pointed out, it flares out to 32 feet or up to 10 meters at the garages. Is that the correct assumption?
That is a correct proposal. Thank you, because I think my suggestion to the committee would be that really clear that the variance is only applicable to the or called the apron kind of wall, not to the driveway that goes from the turning circle out to the road. Otherwise, we see an awful lot of pavement on that property. Anything else? But that's it for me. Thank you. Okay. Well,
I'm good with it. I think Chris makes a good point, so I'll agree with that.
So, then can we capture that as a condition that the variance is strictly for the apron in front of the garages and not the length of roadway, length of driveway from the road to the turning circle? Just read out so we can go clear on
Certainly, that the minor variance is only applicable for the apron in front of the garage site and not for the length of the driveway from the road to the turning circle.
it. Okay, so, let's go through the formality of reading the necessary documentation. In matter of section 45 of planning act as amended of zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief to permit a single family dwelling in order agricultural zone to have a height of 10.5 meters to the midpoint of the roof. 2, a driveway width of 10 meters instead of 6 meters for the proposed single dwelling unit, and then the condition again.
The condition being that the minor variance is only applicable for the apron in front of the garage site and not the length of the driveway from the road to the turning circle.
Okay, so again, let's either approve with the condition, oppose with the third. So we please,
I approve of the condition.
Paul? And I likewise approve the condition. It's subject to it's going to be approved. Please go ahead with the resolution.
That the minor variance decision as made by the committee be approved with the following condition, that the minor variance is only applicable for the apron in front of the garage site and not for the length of the driveway from the road to the turning circle.
Move it. All in favor? Okay, so, on to new business. I'd like to bring one point up. Does anybody else have this one before? No? Okay, it's to do with the point we picked up, of course, is the issue of the driveway. I struggled with the fact that we're imposing restrictions on a driveway, especially when it's only the flaring that's a concern. Likewise, this location and likewise a previous property. So what I'm going to suggest that we, as a committee, do is put something forward like this. In order to clarify the zoning bylaw, the flaring out of the driveway to facilitate access to the garage or ancillary structure greater than 6 meters in width should not require minor variance. And the committee requests that the staff consider requesting council to amend the bylaw accordingly. Move and second.
Can I understand? I didn't understand exactly what you're proposing.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was the previous application, the flaring out was strictly from the garage.
Yeah.
And what staff interpreted is the entire driveway.
Yeah.
You know, and what I'm saying is let's delineate between the apron and the actual driveway and not put a blanket statement that we need a minor variance for. Like in this particular instance, I struggled with saying we need a minor variance. Likewise, the other one that was beside the house, I struggled as well because the driveway up the road was 6 meters and then all of a sudden flared out just to accommodate the turning movements. So I'm suggesting we ask the staff to consider asking council to make a bylaw to clarify that so we're not inundated with all these minor variances associated with property with the actual garage. Makes sense to you?
Yeah.
So, makes sense to me. Okay. So then, can you take that back then?
I certainly will, Mr. Chair.
I can understand where staff are concerned. Their concern is having it wide and people start using it as a parking lot. And if it's strictly for turning to get in and out type of thing, I think that's acceptable.
Well, I guess if it doesn't come here, then you may start having some.
I think staff will have to write the bylaw properly that captures that. In other words, it's words like flaring out of the 6 meter drive is only permitted within a certain distance of a garage or ancillary structure requiring access. Yeah, so we have to. I'm sure staff was clever enough to come up with that for them.
Because I think the point is the width of the garage, it may be one car length. We probably give it a real number, not a car length.
Yeah.
To make it again easier for staff to interpret the plot. And for those who are designing the plot.
I just want, it needs to be detailed. Because otherwise you're walking into parking lot, park 10 trucks, and you're,
Right now it's sort of says 6 meters all the way. Well, if you got a 3-car garage, you can't function with a 6 meter.
Yeah, because what we're kind of proposing is you can have a laneway and then you can throw a bunch of concrete in the back. And so I still like the idea of it coming here because then you're sort of managing that totally.
Yeah, well, I think staff need to manage too, and the only thing I see managing. Okay, so that's that. Okay, then, turn it over to you to the agenda committee of adjustment.
The Committee of Adjustment hereby adjourned at 7:35 p.m.
Mover. Second, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, let's move into the, Planning and Development Advisory Committee. Okay, so, I'd like to call the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting to order. We'll start with roll call. Fritz, present. Paul Sega, present. Aye, Councilor Johnson Booth, I'm present as well. Going to a moment of reflection. Thank you very much. All right, would you read the confirmation of the agenda?
That the committee approves the February 13th, 2024 agenda and receives the reports as corrected and circulated, and that the committee approves the addition to the agenda as follows. Consent item 7.2, committee questions and staff responses regarding the February 13th, 2024 PDAC agenda.
Okay, move in a second. Second for Paul, in favor? Thank you. Okay, have you disclosure confidential Friday?
No.
No. Okay, neither was I. And we have no delegations. And we'll move into the consent agenda. 7.1, approval of minutes. Please read the resolution.
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee approves the minutes from the meeting held on January 9th, 2024.
Move by Paul, second by Chris, all in favor? Okay, so I'd like to get into actual line division reports. So I'd like to note that the meeting is video now recorded, and then all in-person electronic meetings are uploaded to Mr. Kelly's YouTube page. Registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means or consenting to have your likeness and comments posted on YouTube. Okay, so Lynn, would you please read the first?
So the application file number is B6223 revised. The applicant is Flavia Demarin. Address is 218 Hume Road in the Township of Pleasant. Location of the subject lands are lot 10 on concession 10. The proposed severance is 45 meters frontage by 95 meters frontage for 0.43 hectares vacant land for proposed rural residential use, and the retained parcel is 3.6 hectares with 56 meters frontage, existing and proposed rural residential use with existing house, shop, and pool.
Okay, thank you. So, would you like to have the agent come forward and put the appropriate drawing on the
Absolutely.
screen? And for the record,
Jim Huseman, I don't know if they have to still in.
Yes. Okay, floor is yours.
Okay, this is an application that was submitted quite some time ago, put on hold. The application is being revised to be about 1 acre. Before it was 2 acres, so it's now about 1/4 hectare. And in this case, some environmental work was also done because it's in the Greenlands area. And a brief was prepared and submitted to the county. I'm assuming the township has it as well.
I have a copy of it, yeah.
So then in it, fundamentally, they found that it's not really part of the Greenland, doesn't meet the criteria of Greenland's designation in terms of the environmental comments. Probably the only thing that they noted was there are some maples along Hume Road, and those Maples may provide a habitat for SAR bats. SAR bats.
Species at risk. Yeah.
I'm not a biologist, I don't know that one. And may constitute the habitat for certain kind of bee. So this was done not long ago. It's brief. It's not a full study, but fundamentally, there's some larger trees in the front, and the main point is that we make sure that the new driveway does not impact the trees, and that will not be an issue at all. We make sure that the driveway is well clear of these trees. Otherwise, all the criteria for the suburbs is met. We have to answer any questions.
When were there any agency comments received?
Mr. Chair, the only comments received were from township, building, fire, and bylaw departments. And they all three had no concerns with the application.
Okay, were there any registrants received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there were not.
Okay, so I'd just like to point out to the attendees, if you're watching, if you have any attendees.
We do not, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we'll turn over to committee members and
Nothing from me, thank you.
oh, okay. Just a question with respect to the EIS of the county. Are we satisfied with the EIS? Do we need to review it? Do we need a more extensive EIS?
Through the chair, we typically look at that the assistance of the township. So it hasn't been peer reviewed at this point.
I see. Okay.
Maybe has the process been started?
Yeah. No, we just received it with the consent application. So following this meeting, sometime probably later this week, I'll reach out to the owner and send her an agreement so that the township's third-party costs are recovered, and then we'll send it for peer review.
Okay, so I guess the suggestion would be is that we approve it subject to satisfactory, supported subject to satisfactory peer review of the EIS. Okay, well, yeah. Well, then you want to read out the comments? We're writing one now that's also to the submission of the satisfactory review of the EIS.
Would you like me to read out all of them?
You can summarize the standard ones then.
Okay, so the committee supports the application subject to the following conditions. Our standard 2, that the owner satisfy the requirements of township financial and otherwise, including taxes paid in full and payment of the consent moving condition clearance fee. That safe access to the proposed several parcels can be accommodated to the satisfaction of the township. That the owner enter into a development agreement with the township for the purpose of recovery of the township's third-party costs in relation to any of the township's conditions, including the peer review of the submitted EIS brief. And finally, that the owner obtains zoning compliance for the reduced lot area and reduced lot frontage for lands to be retained to the satisfaction of the township.
And also,
I have that. I included the third-party costs. Okay, I'll add that also. And also, the 5th condition will be approval status subject to the review of the EIS by the township's peer review ecologist. Satisfactory.
Just for clarity, I don't believe any minor variances, like zoning conformances are already there for the same lot, if I'm not mistaken. And you said something about the reduced frontage and area for the state.
No, we didn't say that.
Yeah, I did actually. That was an error.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you don't require zoning compliance. It's just those 4. The financial requirements of the township, safe access, the development agreement for the peer review, and the satisfactory review of the EIS by township peer review ecologist.
All right, so move first, second of a call, all in favor of the conditions. Thank you. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, sure, go ahead, Isabel, please. That the
That the committee supports revised severance application 62-23, subject to the conditions as noted previously.
Okay, first, Paul, all in favor? Okay, start with the next one, 1.12.
So this application is severance application B 109-23 D10 Hushka, Reigning Kurt Hushka, part lot 3, municipally known as 4487 Wellington Road 32 in the township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 0.56 hectares with 80 meters frontage, existing vacant land for proposed rural residential use. And the retained parcel is 19.2 hectares with 500-meter frontage, existing and proposed agricultural use with existing dwelling, old barn, garage, and sheds.
Okay, so, what is the piece of the proper drawing on and, good.
Sure. Again, Jeff Eastman, from Van Art Surveying. So this application is for Trevor's Corner. When I was out the property, the first thing that I wanted to ensure was the safe entrance, and the road superintendent from the county came by and actually helped me pick a specific range that we've got identified there for the proposed entrance. The property, the other restraint or constraint, if you will, there's just a small wetland pocket in this field. If you look at air photos, you can just see a dark tinge on the surface. So we've set this up to be 30 meters away from that feature. We have can't think of the geometric term, but a sloped rear limit here. We'll have 85 meters on the back. Main reason is that I'd like to, I didn't want to have it square 55 meters back here because I feel like it'd be nicer to have more depth to this lot in light of County Road 34 being a fairly busy road. Many severances that I've worked with, we kind of start with a minimum depth of 70 meters or so, just to get the house back. In this case, if anyone's visited the property, there's a fairly high berm right here. And it would be nice to kind of tuck the house in behind that when the house is eventually built. So the main reason for going for the little deeper on this side is to create more room. We get an average depth of about 70 meters in depth. If you would take an average, it'd be great if we didn't have this wetland pocket and we'd go 85 all the way. But that's why we have the hypotenuse, if you will, sloped angle on the back. Otherwise, I think everything else looks pretty straightforward. It looks positive. And we have to get started.
So, Lynn, were there any agency comments?
The only comments received were from the township's building bylaw and fire department. They had no concerns with the application, and Source Water noted that the property is located in a vulnerable area, but the activities would not create a significant drinking water threat, and the application can be screened out. Does not require Section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act, but they may provide comments on any future application subject to this property given the vulnerable areas.
Lynn, were there any registrations received?
No, Mr. Chair, there were not.
Okay, I know there any members in the audience who like to.
Mr. Chair, there are still no attendees.
Okay. Okay, so for the committee members,
No questions from me.
No questions.
Yeah, no, I had a question with respect to the trapezoid you have there, but I'm okay with that on the basis of what you said. I personally found that property will need a lot of fill, but that's up to you. Up to the owner. Any questions for this guy or comment? Okay, good, thank you. Okay, so then why don't we do this? Read your resolution and your conditions, and we'll take it all at once. I'll make it simple.
Okay. So that the committee supports severance application B 109-23, subject to the following conditions. That the owner satisfy all the requirements of the township of Puslinch, financial and otherwise, including taxes paid in full and the consent review condition clearance fee, which the township may deem to be necessary at the time of issuance of the certificate of consent for the property and orderly development of the subject lands. Any fees approved by the township for the review of this application will be the responsibility of the applicant, and that the township The Porcelain file with Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Division Committee a letter of occurrence of this condition. And second one, that the owner enter into a development agreement with the township for the purpose of recovery of the township's third-party costs in relation to any of the township's conditions. And that the township filed with Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Division Committee a letter of occurrence of this condition.
Good, over, move by Paul, second by Chris, all in favor? Okay, move into the,
So this is severance application B1-24 D10 VAL Gallo Contracting Limited, hereof Joseph Gallo, part lot 30 concession Gore, municipally known as 4010 concession 7, Township of Porcelain. The proposed severance is 45 meters frontage by 90 meters for a total of 104 hectares, vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel is 8.4 hectares with 136 meters frontage. Existing and proposed residential and business use of existing dwelling, shop, office, and various bins and storage containers.
good, Lynn, was there any agency comments?
The only comments we received were building bylaw and fire, the township departments, and they had no concerns with the application.
Okay, and, are there any registrants received to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, I did not receive any.
And, no, any audience members wish to speak?
Mr. Chair, there are no audience members.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, then Jeff, it's up over to you.
Sure, this is in the sense that word of it is really low from the ground. It was gravel at the time. There was a zone change a couple years ago to rezone this property to allow this business from making specialized mats. And that was done a couple years ago. So the proposal is for severance in this corner here, the same depth as the one and about the same width. If this severance proceeds, significant work will have to be done for a safe entrance. Right now, there's quite a hill. I'm not giving a great profile, but the top of the hill is very close to the existing entrance. And in consultation with the Township Roads Department, he'd actually embrace the plan to take Concession 7 Road down in this area here, so the peak of that hill comes lower. It'll have several advantages. One, this driveway, if you've visited the property, if you come in, it drops down quite a bit into the, I won't say pit, or the low area. So that will help this driveway out. Also, it'll just provide a safer environment for Concession Road 7. Though it's not that busy, it still will bring down that hill. By bringing down that hill, we'll be able to have a proposed entrance. So to get that entrance will be a whole process with the township, assuming that the severance is approved. The other part of this is this property is it's in the secondary ag area of the county official plan. We're familiar with the secondary ag, that we have a severance in the secondary ag. The unique thing about this one is that it is in the get the wording right. In the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, it's shown as prime agricultural land, and it's kind of just at the verge. Like if you take a look at here, the orange shading is the edge of that prime agriculture designation. And in my mind, it's really not prime ag. When you look at this kind of mapping, when they're doing this mapping, it's provincially based mapping, they're not going through every single property, every little corner. They're making, I'm going to say, fairly broad brush strokes. So technically speaking, it's in that area. A formal letter was written to the county back in April 2023 requesting that the county, as part of their municipal comprehensive review, refine the boundaries to reflect its character, that it's not in prime ag. And if you've been in this area, you can see very clearly this is not a prime ag area. The subject land doesn't contribute to agricultural area at all. In fact, if you wouldn't be able to produce agricultural on the surface it's really just scrub grass right now. In fact, it'd make a great area for a new dwelling in that area. So, that's in summary the application. And I'd be happy to hear or have address any questions or comments that you may have.
Before I turn it over to the committee members, I'll ask, John, can you please comment on this variance between the county mapping and the provincial mapping and what prevails and how you get to that?
Yeah, so through the chair, this property is a little bit different than some of the properties because it is in the Greenbelt plan. So where properties are in the Greenbelt, this provincial mapping applies. So regardless of our official plan, the provincial mapping says prime, so therefore, in terms of our operation policies, now staff use those policies. So we'll likely recommend to the committee that be denied for that reason. There are a number of properties caught up in this kind of in between right now, where it's in the Greenbelt and where the prime expanded beyond the secondary area that we have mapped. So this isn't the only one like this.
Okay, I'm just to follow up on that. How can we unhook that? What will be required to clarify this? To redo the mapping to coincide with all that?
Sure. So through the chair, the county did start the process of incorporating this mapping into our official plan. Province has criteria for what we can refine and add mostly. We can't necessarily take away land. That work is on pause right now because the province has indicated they're potentially getting rid of the growth plan with their latest PPS review, which was kind of announced in summer of last year.
So if they eliminate that, then this becomes secondary.
Yeah, presumably if the growth plan goes away, then our mapping will apply again. Not exactly sure how the mechanisms.
Okay, so just follow many members and if you all county staff, our staff, the applicant, any questions there?
Following on Chair's line, I thought the acronym wrong, but their planning request in last year outlined a process I thought for the county to make a slight tweak. Because the reason I'm pushing this is because I'm looking at this and I understand the conundrum that it's locked up in some ways and it's pretty significant contrary position if you just said no, we would support this severance, even though based on just information and my recollection of seeing that it's not primary agricultural. So how do we? I know you said the study is paused, but in fairness to the landowner, what can we do to bring the classification from theory to reality?
Yeah, to the chair, this is so regardless of NHBC's letter, there is some further process for this section application. So and staff size is prime based on the mapping, and that's the designation that's in place. So to refine that, we would have to look at it holistically across the whole county through that MCR process, through that agricultural review to look for inconsistencies like this. But again, when we do that review, it's fairly set criteria, so it's likely that a piece like this would stay prime even after that review.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, just okay. So absorb that for a little bit because I'm struggling with that gap between what policy says and what reality is. And I encourage the county to reassess that position that we should, in fairness to our fellow citizens, be looking at how we're going to, on a more individual basis, and I think it's that there's no, how do we deal with those refinements where the coarseness of provincial mapping isn't at the appropriate level and refinement in the situation.
The chair, you want me to respond? I think the province set out the requirements and we'll have to implement what they give us. So I'm not the expert in this. We do have senior policy planners that look into this more closely as well too. My role is more to look at what we have here today and if the township was interested in kind of a more policy discussion and have that.
Thank you.
I've been listening and I'm torn as well. So, and I guess, like, I've been spending a lot of time on there's a lot of buzz around this housing development through the province, and this is a hot topic right now. So I guess the question I have maybe with the committee here is, we're making a recommendation basically on this. That's all we're doing on the severance, right? So we don't have to recommend that we follow the province. We can recommend that this isn't, in our eyes, it's not prime land. If it gets denied, it's going to get denied. I don't think we need to play in that. Like, it's not prime agriculture. So I think it needs to start from somewhere, this conversation, and it could start from here. So my recommendation is that our comments are that it's not prime agriculture and we should sever it. And if down the road, the policy indicates through the provincial government that it gets denied, then it gets denied. That's my take on it.
Any questions of the applicant?
No, it's pretty clear.
Okay, I got some questions and we'll get back into the. With respect to the road, dropping the road, who would pay for this?
Oh, the owner would pay for everything. I've done this in my career twice. Once we took down the road, and once we lifted up the road, we lifted up the road so that the floodplain would go into our lands, and we provided a block. Another time, we did it with the township, and the township supervised all the work, and they were very happy to get a new stretch of pavement on the road, and safer sight lines for all the houses.
And so the next question. Given that this is a sticky point, I think you give a flavor that the on the table we would support this regardless of what the final outcome is. Is there an opportunity to have a severance south of the existing driveway? Because that would clearly be out of that area. Like, I would hate to see.
Good question.
Spinning or asking to spin your wheels on something may not succeed, when there might be an opportunity on the south side to succeed.
Just give me 1 second to see if he's got, it doesn't work. Maybe this is a good question. This is the reason why it doesn't work. He's got some of these maps that he makes down in this corner, and very deep grade there. Like it's really low in that corner. It'd be almost impossible to build a house with access to the road in that corner.
Yeah, I understand that, but if he's willing to drop the road, I'm sure he's going to fill that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Like, it's a big draw.
It is a big draw.
It is a big draw. So, yeah, this is, yeah. And not only that, when the rezoning got done, the rezoning had this line created so that this was all part of the industrial operation. And this part is still the agriculture zoning, in which allows for this house. So we couldn't even do it here on a zoning reason. Zoning matter.
Okay, Chris, I'll
good question.
Go back around the table again. Chris, called me a suggestion.
Yeah, I'm appalled that we already started.
Okay, so we have some wording along the lines that we're finding the advisory committee supports the proposed severance application and is aware of the conflict between county's official plan, the provincial legislation, and ask for consideration to given to I don't want to be as firm as political situation, but permit the development of Seventh Field too.
One thing I haven't heard is any justification for the current mapping, or that's the problem with it.
Just around that, I guess our reason is because the characteristics of the property are not prime ag.
Well,
was.
it's zoned secondary in the county, so I'm using that as being the excuse as opposed to saying it's probably. So could we do that out to see if we all agree on that?
Certainly. The committee supports the application and is aware of the conflict between the county official plan and provincial legislation, and asks that consideration be given to permit the severance to occur.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. And the other condition I think is important that just made a point that they want to drop the road. And I think that the only way that entrance would work is the road is dropped. So I think we have to have words to the effect that subject to the road being lowered to the south, lowered to the south function of the township. And that all related costs be paid for by the Any comments on that? I think that's good. Okay. Okay, then, so, I think we captured it, so why don't you read your resolution and then, yeah, I think, let's go on the assumption that we're approving it and you got all the general conditions for approving it and, away we go and, see what happens.
Okay, that the committee supports severance application B1-24. And is aware of the conflict between the county official plan and the provincial legislation, as a consideration be given to permit severance to occur. Subject to the following conditions: that the owner satisfy the requirements of township coastline, financial and otherwise. There's two standard, Jeff. Safe access to the proposed severed lands can be accommodated. The owner enter into a development agreement with the township for the purpose of recovery of the township's third-party costs. Also, there's a site plan on that property, so we're going to ask that the site plan agreement registered as instrument number WC 675759 be deleted from title to the severed parcel, and then that the owner provide a new site plan drawing to include only the retained parcel to the satisfaction of the township, and then that the owner apply for an amendment to the registered site plan to amend it to remove the site plan drawing approved by the township's consulting and engineers on April 25th, 2022, and replace it with a new drawing. That the owner provide an EIS due to the life science ANSI located on the severed parcel to be peer reviewed to the satisfaction of the township. And also that the road is lowered to the satisfaction of the township and all related costs are to be paid for by the applicant. And I can send you a copy of these. Yeah.
Okay, so a mover, first, second, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no correspondence. Anybody have any new business? Okay, then adjournment.
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee hereby adjourns at 8:09 p.m.
Okay, move by Paul, second by Chris, all in favor? Oh,